volunteer extraordinaire, Mark Thompson. He is going to give us a talk called That Little Voice. Please help me welcome Mark.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. Yes.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
It's definitely an honor to be here today to speak to you just for a few minutes. And really, I look at this as just kind of a little casual conversation between friends. By a show of hands, how many of you have ever been in a situation, maybe there was a homeless person or someone you could help, and you saw that person in need, and in the back of your mind, that little voice said, you should help, but you chose, or we chose, not to? By a show of hands, how many of us have ever done that? Yeah, it's that little voice. See, I think that's the universe's way of saying this is what needs to be done. That little voice. Here, over the Labor Day weekend, my cousin, who I grew up with, was turning 50. So he calls me up here about a month ago and says, Mark, hey, we're gonna have a party down in Southern California. We're gonna go to USC game, and me and my other cousins, we're just gonna hang out and have fun. And I thought, that sounds great. You know, he's turning 50 and we're really close. And I thought to myself, well, I can also, while I'm down in Southern California, I can also visit with my mother, who was in hospice, in-home hospice. So I thought, you know, I can visit with my mother as well. So I told my mother the plan. I said, you know, I'm going to come down for Kevin's event and then, you know, stay at your house and hang out a little bit. She said, great. A week ago, my cousin called me. He says, Mark, I'm canceling the event. He says, you know, I'm not going to do the game. I don't want to do that. That's just not, I just don't want to do it. And in the back of my mind, I thought to myself, well, I've got to make a decision. And that little voice is saying to me, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to go down anyway? Or are you going to stay home? I chose to go down. I chose to follow that little voice because something was telling me that I needed to be there. I didn't know why. And I think we have to be kind of obedient to that voice. I didn't know why. I didn't know how it would turn out. All I know is I told my mom, I'm coming down. And whatever happens, happens. So this past week, I drove down and just showed up. And amazingly enough, relatives started coming to the house. My cousin came to the house. Two things I want to talk to you today about, fellow Toastmasters, is that when we follow that little voice, the first thing is we are blessed. I don't necessarily mean that from a religious point of view. We are blessed. And secondly, you never know. See, I went to the event, my mom's house, and my mom decided to surprise me with an old family friend that I hadn't seen in 20 years. And her name was Nikki, and we grew up together. And it was just, for me, a blessing. But I was obedient to the little voice that said, this is what you need to do. See, we're confronted with these decisions probably daily. And we go, well, should I get, oh, no. And we hesitate. And then I do it too. I do it too. But when you feel strong about that little voice, and it says, this is what you should do, I ask you next time to follow through with that. Because we will be blessed beyond that event. The event turned out amazing. Better than I could have imagined, better than I could have planned, being obedient to that little voice. And secondly, you never know. What I mean by that is you never know what someone is going through. No, you never know. I don't know what my cousin is going through. One of my cousins lives in Texas, and he was there. You never know. Someone told me he's having some financial trouble, relationship trouble, later on. But I was obedient to the event and to that moment, and shared with him as a cousin, as a brother. Hey, I love you. Real simple. I understand. I didn't know he was going through anything, but I shared with him that, you know, hey, most things in life we go through are temporary. And I say that even in a room like this, if you are compelled to say something positive to someone or uplifting to someone, say it. Because you never know what they are going through. And really think about that. We always hear that stuff on the news where somebody kills himself, and I hate to get serious, and we go, well, we didn't know. That could have been, I mean, you could have been the last person to talk to him or her. You never know what people are going through. I'm sure many of us in here have some challenges. I do. You know, my mom's coming off hospice, and she's getting back to a new normal in life. That's a challenge. That's just a small challenge. I'm sure many of you have going through or have gone through challenges in life with aging parents. We never know. So when we are confronted with that little voice, I want you to remember two things, and I hear this as I say it, is you will be blessed if you pay attention to that little voice, and you never know what someone else is going through. And I tell you this short little story because the event that I went to touched me, and that my mom took the time out to bless me. I had to be obedient to that voice in the beginning. Otherwise, that moment in time would have never happened. Thank you.